Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. Excuse me. It's 3:48 p.m. on Tuesday the 19th of August 2025, and the Mama T, aka the Tanya, aka the Psychedelic Dreamer, is back in the room for part 2 of chapter 26, I believe it was. We were trying to plough our way through, but I went on one of my rantantans, and oh well, it is what it is, people of Earth. It's out there, it's on YouTube, it's published, it's public, and I stand by every word I say, because I stand by my own breed of sanity or insanity, as the case may be, although I've had a review of it myself and haven't said anything that I feel is insane. Actually, it's quite lucid and sequential and clear, and yes, so it's up there, and the ones who know, and hopefully we'll see some drastic changes in attitude and behaviour in the coming weeks and months, because that too was a kind of a healing. You can thank me for it later, people of Earth. You're probably not quite there yet, but you will be. You'll get there. You'll get what I'm putting down, and let's just hope and pray it's not too little too late. And because a lot of it is too little and too late, given I was originally shadow banned and silenced. So gratitude to the current leadership in YouTube that maintain my truth and keep my videos, and probably because they think I'm hanging myself by my own garrote and making a laughing stock out of myself. But there is very likely that possibility. But if I hang by my own garrote for standing by my truth and being lucid and clear-headed, then I guess I'll have to hang, won't I? But it won't be because I didn't hold everyone accountable to stand by their own truth and start acting like honourable, decent, responsible adults. Just saying. Anyway, we continue on with chapter 26, which was titled World Run. And got a nice cup of tea, and I've centered myself. So here we go. Beautiful, courageous, powerful, loving, kind, compassionate people of Earth. You're out there somewhere. Sometimes we have to dig deep to find you, but you are out there. Right. All jokes aside, Campbell was tasked with pulling together a Sudbury charter for the Angels. The central Ontario city didn't have any existing charters for 1% clubs in the early 2000s, but it did have a lively biker history, including a bloody clash in 1992 between the Choice and Johnny's Sombreros, Black Diamond Riders, who had faded into the background but refused to become extinct. You eating your sunflower seeds? Oh, what a happy boy. He loves the sunflower seeds. Right. The BDR, as in Black Diamond Riders, had ostensibly been in town for a baseball tournament when the violence erupted. Excuse me. I've turned my heater up, but it's actually quite cold today. It's a miserable cold day. But I think the sun's coming out in this late afternoon, so it bodes well for tomorrow. By the time things cooled, 8 members of the BDR were in hospital, 4 with knife wounds, 1 shot in the eye and the abdomen, that would bloody hurt, and the others beaten with clubs, which would also hurt. There was also a bizarre incident on December 15th, 1996, when someone set off an explosion at the Sudbury police station. Police estimated more than 1 kilogram of powdered explosives ignited by a fuse had been used to blast a hole in the wall of the building. The police station kept on functioning, but the bill for repairs to the station and a bank next door ran to $133,000. Exactly a year later, 6 Choice members and associates from the Hamilton and Sudbury areas were charged with more than 3 dozen offences related to the bombing. They included Ion John Croitoru, don't know, president of the Hamilton chapter of the Choice, a massive product of weight training and steroid abuse. That means he would have looked like that character in Beetlejuice with the little tiny shrunken head and the massive big body. You can always tell when people are on roids. They look stupid. By the gods. Anyway, that's a them problem, not a me problem, I'm just saying. Just thinking out loud, people of Earth. Gets me into trouble sometimes, but it's true. They look like that, just like that character. Probably have a shrunken brain that goes with it too, but we'll stop while we're ahead. Mama's living a bit dangerously today. She's out there. She's out there. She's cooking on gas. Right. A massive product of weight training and steroid abuse, who wrestled professionally under the names of Johnny K9 and Bruiser Bedlam. All his veins will be all thick and calcified in his arms and legs too. Oh, it's putrid. It's putrid what people do to themselves. But don't worry, I've been self-immolating today too. I had 4 chicken tenderloins that I cooked, you know, they're covered in batter and they're quite fattening. I cooked in my air fryer. And then I was still hungry after that, so I had a large bowl of semolina pudding, which I cooked yesterday. I had a fair bit of that yesterday. So there, I'm cooking on gas. I'm cooking on chicken and semolina pudding, people of Earth. And I had the pineapple rings on top. It's really the pineapple I'm craving, really in real terms. But anyway. And what I have for breakfast? Banana bread. So I've eaten quite a lot today. I feel like I've eaten a lot. But then there was 2 weeks when I hardly ate anything because I was so ill. I want to go out and get a hot chicken and come home and make a soup, but it's too cold, I can't be bothered. I'll just have something light tonight, like an egg or egg on toast or something. Can't be bothered going to the shops. Sometimes when I'm like that, I get Uber deliveries, but I've got to I've got to go to the shops sooner or later. Anyway, I'll go tomorrow. Croitoru. I know, I struggle with names, was one of a new brand of club member. He owned a motorcycle, but Campbell never saw him actually riding it. K9 was bizarrely competitive for someone who performed in rigged spectacles. One night inside the Sudbury clubhouse, Campbell defeated him in an Indian leg wrestling contest, and K9 demanded a rematch. Campbell won again. K9 demanded another rematch. Again, K9 lost. And again. By now it was tedious for everyone but K9, who was beside himself. There was no clue rattling about inside his big bald head about why he kept losing, since he was considered by many to be the strongest, steroid-powered man in the Canadian biker scene, and Campbell was considerably smaller, steroid-free, and on the senior side of 50. "How the fuck do you do that, you cocksucker?" K9 asked. "He wouldn't leave me alone," Campbell recalls. "That night, he was like a dog following me around." By the gods. "There's a technique that your little brain can't understand," Campbell said to K9. "You've got to show me," K9 persisted. Campbell finally did, just to shut K9 up. "As soon as you hook, you roll," Campbell said. Then they had another rematch, and K9 finally won. When I showed him, he almost broke my back. Why'd you show him, you dumb motherfucker? Honestly. Never give away your secrets. I know, YouTube's got all my secrets, but I stand in my own truth and integrity. Very few people have got what it takes to stand in their own truth and integrity. That's one thing I learnt from COVID 2020. How many weak, disingenuous, did I mention, piss weak mortals are running around our planet Earth. Couldn't lie straight in bed if you tied them to the bed and on some kind of frame, and oh well, anyway, we'll let it go, we'll let it go. Police didn't think K9 and his crew had any particular reason for bombing the Sudbury police station, other than a general unhappiness with law enforcement. Also among those charged was, dear goddess, 39-year-old Michael Dubé of Sudbury, who was already in jail awaiting trial for conspiracy allegedly. Oh, you're yelling at me. Here's my finger. Come and bite me. Come on. You know you want to. Yeah, I know you want to. This isn't very stable, is it? Good goodness. Right. Who was already in jail awaiting trial for conspiracy to bomb a local nightclub. He had also been a suspect in a 1988 murder. Dubé never made it to trial for the Sudbury bombing, hanging himself in his jail cell in September 1998. He told somebody he couldn't do any more time. Pardon me. Attempts to blow up the police station aside, Sudbury became known in biker circles as a hospitable charter. Evelyn cooked up big servings of comfort food for any members passing through, and Campbell supplied free female companionship and booze. A lot of people stayed 5 or 6 days just to soak up the hospitality. It's often said in biker circles, if you can't get laid in Sudbury, there's something wrong with you. Not surprisingly, plenty of men wanted to join the charter, but Campbell was generally unimpressed with the quality of candidates, found himself kicking out a string of them. He preferred to be diplomatic, like a kindly corporate downsizer, and say simply, it's not working out. That was the hint that it was time to make a graceful exit before Campbell's patience ran out and he made himself clear with a left hook. He sounded less kindly when a member posted a picture of Toronto Police Chief Julian Fantino's home on the club's website. The photo was lifted from a January 2001 edition of the Free Toronto Listings magazine, Now, along with the words, "What you doing, boy chick?" Along with the words, Chief Fantino's suburban bunker. Recalls Campbell, I freaked when I saw that. I said, get that the fuck off our website today. Everybody thought it was funny, but I didn't. I thought it was too confrontational. Don't be confrontational towards a man with that much power. We're bikers. Don't think you have that much power in this world. One full patch member, I'm just going to let him out. He looks like he wants to come out. You want to come out, little man? Come on. You is my beautiful boy. Come out and play. Come on. Come on. Out you come. Come. All right. He'll come out when he's good and ready and not before. Did he come out? I hear scuffling. Here he comes. Here he comes. Come on, little Kermie boy. Get with the program, Kermie. Hello. What you doing? Right. Just going to put the light on. It's getting very dark here. It's just a miserable day. Right. Where were we? One full patch member who stayed on was Sylvain, 2020, Vachon. Vachon. Isn't vache French for cow? I think. Cochon is a pig. A vachon is, I don't know what a vachon is. Well, anyway, Sylvain, 2020 Vachon, A former minor league hockey enforcer from Sherbrooke, Quebec. Vachon loved the sport so much, he once bought his own hockey team. Eventually he had to leave the game because no one wanted to fight him, fearing any confrontation on the ice would spill over onto the streets and involve the Hells Angels. His nickname, 2020, came from the American news magazine. It's going to rain tonight. My lungs are arcing up. And it was in reference to the massive publicity his hockey sideline brought him, including a mention in Sports Illustrated. Campbell was also impressed with a striker from Copper Cliff near Sudbury named Phil Boudreau. Boudreau had been raised without a father and at a young age assumed the role of man of the house for his mother and two little brothers. He could be a good student when he applied himself, and he could also be a major public menace as he was quick with his fists and his temper. He channeled his aggression into boxing, fighting for Canada in the light welterweight division at the 1996 Olympics before turning pro, billed as the Sudbury Sensation. Boudreau had been with the Satan's Choice while he was boxing for Canada, but kept it low-key so that the Olympic Association wouldn't get riled up. Senior members such as Campbell, Doug Hoyle and Bernie Gendon struck him as impressive father figures. They don't make men like they used to. No, they don't, Boudreau says. I wish everybody was like that. He didn't medal at the Atlanta Olympics, but he fought well, winning one match and losing another. He sat beside his daughter and former wife in a Mustang convertible in a parade through Sudbury when local Olympians returned home, waving to fans like a conquering hero. An autograph signing at a wine and cheese party followed, and everything was festive until police arrived with an outstanding arrest warrant. His ex-wife and daughter were understandably upset by the rude end to the festivities, but Boudreau laughed off the homecoming parade debacle with Campbell, whom he started calling Dad. I've heard about him since I was a young kid, Boudreau says. Never anything negative, always positive as for the 1% side. He's just a man standing by his beliefs. He doesn't sway side to side. When I look at him, I see myself as time will pass. I always felt that was me, just an older version of me. Boudreau was so impressed by Campbell's punching power, even in his post-50 years. He's got a really, really hard shot. He throws it like it's the last punch he'll ever throw. Someone just yelled out, "You're getting married soon." I don't think so, Spirit. Mama T's got no intention of ever getting married. Certainly wouldn't be getting married soon. I don't even have a boyfriend. Like, what the fuck? So don't mind me if I come out with weird random statements. Someone's around and obviously thinking that they're having a bit of fun winding me up. Honestly, marriage, it's just a filthy institution. Either imprisons the man or it imprisons the woman, depending on the personalities involved. Foul it is. Why would you ever want to do that? By the gods. Anyway, something about Campbell's attitude, whoever it is laughing their ass off. Something about Campbell's attitude also clicked with Boudreau. Life's too short to be asking, can I do this? Can I do that? Boudreau respected how Campbell didn't act like a victim when things got rocky. For example, during extended stays behind bars. Lorne gets his time, big fat diamond. Oh, big fat dreamer, go away, whoever you are. Maybe I'm starting to get schizophrenia with old age. Don't worry, it's crossed my mind a few times. But, no. Lorne gets his time, and he never cried about it, never bitched about it, just did his time. Well, what's the point, you know? When you're done, you're dusted, and you're done. Once, at a crowded bar, Campbell bumped into someone, or someone bumped into Campbell. Whatever the case, Boudreau immediately corked the stranger with a stiff hook. Phil, you don't have to do that, Campbell said. He bumped into you. Another evening, Boudreau was at a party with his girlfriend at the clubhouse bar. Oh, little Beau's eating his, I gave him some leaves from the Banksia bush, so he's chewing on that. Sorry. Another evening, Boudreau was at a party with his girlfriend at the clubhouse bar. He earnestly approached Campbell. Pardon me. If there's somebody that I want to punch out, can I do it? He asked. There are definite rules in the outlaw biker world about whom you can and whom you cannot punch out. If a member hits another member, it can result in as little as a $100 fine. If two members are fighting, rules forbid the use of weapons and pylons or others joining in, but kicking, punching, gouging and biting are permissible. If a non-member hits a member, then all rules are off and other members are expected to join in. Then you'll see a group situation. It's not a pretty sight. When Mother McEwen and others boot-fucked Campbell as he fought with Dave Seguin in 1976. Boot-fucked. At the Montreal Choice Clubhouse, it wasn't just nasty. They were in clear violation of 1% rules. As a senior club member, Campbell had a role in regulating violence, which is why Boudreau showed him the respect of asking him before laying a beating on someone. Why is that? Campbell asked. Someone's coming on to my old lady. Yeah? Yeah. I've told him to stop a couple of times. Oh, how did you pull that off, little Beau? By the gods. Well, all right, I give up. You just do your thing and be your own bird. Anywho. Sure, it's okay then, Campbell said, returning to his beer as Boudreau headed back to the bar. For some reason, Campbell thought Boudreau was complaining about a non-member sitting at the bar by the fridge. There was no rule against punching out an obnoxious non-member. Who do you think it is? A member asked Campbell. That guy at the bar. No, it's Terry. Terry was Terry Pink, a full patch member. Boudreau was then a prospect, which was the Hells Angels equivalent of the probationary rank of striker in the choice. It was strictly against club rules for a prospect to hit a full member, and yet punching out Pink was exactly what Campbell had given Boudreau permission to do, making it worse. Boudreau's punches would smash into Pink's face with world-class precision. Phil was just about to fill him in, and I got between them. I explained that I thought it was a different guy. Boudreau respectfully assented to Campbell's wishes and stepped away, leaving Pink with no clue how close he'd come to a righteous pounding. Campbell then tried to tell Pink to knock it off. He hadn't particularly liked Pink before, and now he liked him less, patch or not. He was arrogant, like his shit doesn't stink. Boudreau accompanied Campbell overseas in May 2002, when the Hells Angels celebrated the 10th anniversary of their North Coast Charter in Holland, which they prefer to call Helland. Amsterdam is a preferred point of entry for bikers going to Europe, and members there are comfortable with their role as biker hosts. There were more than 125 Hells Angels charters in Europe, and the Dutch prided themselves on being unsurpassed in hospitality. You can't pay for anything. I offered to pay, and it was an insult. While the Dutch Angels were hospitable to outsiders, members of the Dutch Nomads charters were often brutal to each other. Campbell was in Holland with Ian Watson of Barry when Watson felt he needed to say something. He said, "I can't believe them Holland nomads. They punch each other all the time." I said, "Don't look behind you. It's happening again." The Dutch Nomads president was punching a guy in the head 6 times or so. In Amsterdam, Campbell met a biker from California, nicknamed Tiny, who was bigger than Paul's Sasquatch Porter of Ottawa, and Porter tipped the Toledos at somewhere close to 500 pounds. I couldn't believe the size of the motherfucker. He was the biggest Tiny I had ever seen. The Dutch bikers loved Boudreau's swagger and suggested that Campbell give him a death head patch on the spot, signifying full membership in the club. Normally that's something that's done only after a prospect's home charter holds a vote. Campbell was certain they would approve his membership, and was swayed by the enthusiasm of the Dutchmen, several of whom were charter presidents. They were already offering Boudreau free drinks in the clubhouse, even though strikers and hang-arounds are expected to refrain from imbibing on club property. They really liked him. They were treating him like he already was a member. Well, I didn't know that they weren't allowed to drink, and I wonder if that applies to all the outlaw motorcycle organisations. But it goes somewhere to explain why when I walked in off the street to the one I attended, you know, when and I didn't know he was the president at that time because I didn't know who anyone was. I didn't know anyone there. It's a very unusual, quirky thing for me to do, by the way. As I said, I was under orders. And anyway, when he asked me what I was wanting to, why I'd come there, and I told him straight, no bullshit, straight off the cuff, and he burst out laughing. I'm giving you a drink, love. And look, honestly, you could have dropped a pin in the place. There weren't many people there that night, probably about 8 or 10 people, but all 8 or 10 of them all turned their heads and looked at me, and they all went like this. They could not believe I was gifted a free drink for my, in Yiddish, chutzpah, or in English, courage and audaciousness. But you see, I didn't know any of the rules or anything. I knew nothing. Didn't know how I was expected to behave or any of it. So, but that's probably why they weren't allowed to even have drinks, but I got a drink. Wow. And when I ordered the drink, I said, I'll have a Jack Daniels and Coke, please. Again, they all went, oh, that was a very strange evening, but they were very kind to me. Let's be fair here. They were very kind to me for a very long time till it turned rancid. And anyway, it is what it is. Campbell asked Boudreau to meet him in what they both like to describe as a seedy Amsterdam motel room. And the reason I'll add to this, why it turned rancid, was some young guy upstairs when I was playing pool kept threatening to rape me. You don't treat me like that. You don't attempt to rape me. You don't threaten to rape me. You don't touch me sexually without my express consent. So it all went very ugly very quickly. Just saying. That's when Campbell welcomed him into the club and handed him a death head patch in a seedy Amsterdam motel room. Doesn't sound all that flattering, does it? It was the silk-threaded version that's popular in Europe rather than the Canadian cloth model. He was shocked. Both men revelled in the moment. He reminds me of when I was younger. He won't back down from anybody. People will make money off of him and his reputation without him even knowing. Says Boudreau, I don't care if everybody else doesn't respect me. As long as he respects me, I can go to bed. It was while travelling overseas that Campbell got a measure of the respect in which Canadian Hell's Angel Walter Nugent Stadnick is held in the club worldwide. Stadnik wears hell rather than hells on a patch under his ribs, a comment on the hell he went through when he was severely burned after his motorcycle collided with a car driven by a priest. The accident took place when Stadnik was riding to a biker funeral and the priest was driving to the papal visit. Campbell heard about an incident when another biker in Europe had a hell patch too, and Stadnik successfully ordered the biker to immediately remove it so that he alone could wear it. He flipped out when someone else wore hell instead of hells. It was like, if you've been through the hell I've been through. He was a god wherever he travelled. I maintain that the reason is that he did everything for the Hells Angels. It was easy to imagine Stadnik as a wartime general. In a sense that was true, and the war was far from over. What's going on, little handsome bird? What's going on with you? What's going on with you? You're so beautiful. Has Mama told you how beautiful you are today? I have. I've told you that you're a good boy and that you're beautiful. Are you upset because you can't get in Bo's cage? Oh, it's very sharp on the ears, isn't it? Oh, dear goddess. Oh, wow. Excuse me. Yes. Like many television watchers across the Commonwealth, Campbell and Evelyn perched themselves on the couch in July 2002 to watch a parade for Queen Elizabeth II, celebrating her half-century on the throne. Nothing about that moment was as interesting as watching her gold-gilded carriage roll past a sea of, red and blue bunting and Union Jacks, led by a procession of her subjects. Of particular interest that day was Alan Snob Fisher, a full-patch Hells Angel from West London. Snob rode at the head of a pack of 50 motorcycles, one for each year Queen Elizabeth II sat on the throne. Absent from any guest list was Johnny Sombrero, the Toronto biker who had written to the Queen some 4 decades earlier, asking for a charter to rid Canada of outlaw bikers. Ev and I were at home watching it from the start, just to see the Hells Angels lead the parade. It was a proud moment. The Bloc Québécois was not amused by the invitation to the Angels to participate in the Jubilee's celebration of alternative culture. The separatist political party had unsuccessfully tabled a motion in the House of Commons asking the Queen to rescind Snob's invitation. For his part, Snob told the press he was honoured and surprised by the invitation, although he shunned a suggestion that he wear a golden helmet or any kind of uniform other than his leather angel's jacket. "I will ride with pride, said Snob. Campbell and Evelyn particularly enjoyed hearing of rocker Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, may he rest in peace. Enjoyed hearing of rocker Ozzy Osbourne's role in keeping Snob in the parade. When he heard of the movement to boot Snob and some other angels out of the celebrations, Osbourne reportedly threatened to pull out himself. I thought it was pretty cool for Ozzy Osbourne to do that. It was the right thing to do. In defence of Snob's invitation, a palace representative told the press that he was a successful businessman, not a criminal, noting that he ran a Harley-Davidson shop in West London called Snob's Ultimate Customs. The club had been in England almost a decade longer than in Canada, and it had enjoyed a far gentler ride. There were almost twice as many Hells Angels in Canada as in England, with 450 in the former colony and 250 in England. The English bikers were generally much better behaved, with nothing to compare to the carnage of Quebec's biker war, in which some 170 lives were lost. English angels like to note that they were originally invited into the country by no less a personage than George Harrison, the Quiet Beatle. Harrison met some angels while in California in October and November 1968. A month later, yes, my handsome boy. Are you wanting to stir up the bow? All right. Look, you're not alive unless you're stirring someone up. I know. Come on, little boy. You come out and stir him up too. Tell him the feeling's mutual. Need some birdie bonding. Birdie bonding, people of Earth. Birdie bonding. So far they're just staring at each other. Little bows running up and down, up and down, up and down. Here he goes. Kermie. The door's open, Kermie. You go play nicely. I like it when my children play nicely. Right, where were we? What's he doing? He's being cray-cray. Are you being a crazy bird? What are you doing? All right, whatever. He'll work it out. A month later, Harrison, excuse me, there he is. A month later, George Harrison, circulated a memo to Apple Music staff, noting that a dozen or so of the California bikers might soon be dropping into their offices at number 3 Savile Row. Hell's Angels would be in London within the next week on the way to straighten out Czechoslovakia, he wrote on December 4th, 1968, an ambitious reference to undoing the Soviet Union's invasion of Czechoslovakia earlier that year. Oh, you're eating, my love. Okay. There will be 12 in number, complete with black leather jackets and motorcycles. They will undoubtedly arrive at Apple, and I have heard they may try to make full use of Apple's facilities. They may look as though they are going to do you in, but are very straight and do good things, so don't fear them or uptight them. Try to assist them without neglecting your Apple business and without letting them take control of Savile Row. The angels did arrive at Savile Row, although there's no record of the outcome of their plans to straighten out Czechoslovakia. Didn't they say in the last chapter that they're apolitical and don't get involved in politics? I thought that was sus, because we all know, don't we? Everything is connected. Or even take control of Savile Row. They did tighten up the club's brand in the UK, however. There were a number of bogus Hells Angels in England at the time, wearing knockoff Angels patches as nothing more than a fashion statement. Even I, as a layperson, knows that is a stupid thing to do. The bona fide Angels scoped out the situation, and 2 British bikers were sent to San Francisco to prospect with a real Angels charter. On July 30th, 1969, they were back in England as charters were granted for South London and East London, the first true Hells Angels charters in Europe. Well, that was fortunate, was it? I was reacting because I thought they were going to be unalived. Lucky for them, they must have done a fairly good imitation and impressed the real Hells Angels. Not long after that, the only people wearing Angels patches in London were true Hells Angels. Canadians seem to be corrupting influences on the Angels of the mother country. In 1985, Quebec Hells Angel Robert Snake Tremblay was found hiding out in a flat in Bermondsey, a neighbourhood of London, never heard of it, fleeing murder charges in the slaughter that year which sent 5 members of the club's Laval charter to the bottom of the St. Lawrence River and weighted down sleeping bags. At the time of his arrest, British Angels had provided him with a place to stay and a false passport and had plans to smuggle him to France. In February 1995, Quebec Hells Angels Pierre Rodriguez and David Rouleau were arrested in a London Hilton hotel while planning to smuggle more than 500 kilograms of cocaine into England in a scheme that involved Angels pulling together their own fleet of trawlers. A search of their hotel suite netted police contact lists for all of the Angels' 12 British charters. While the level of criminality of the British Angels was nowhere near that of their Canadian counterparts, it was on the rise. This included a propensity for violence. In January 1998, 30 Angels confronted members of the rival Outcasts in South London with baseball bats, knives, metal bars, and a hatchet. 2 Outcasts lay dead by the end of the evening after violence that one witness called ritualistic. Despite the occasional spasms of violence, the public face of the Hells Angels in England was more quirky than threatening. For many of their early years, the club's spokesperson was Dr. Ian Maz Harris, a PhD in sociology from Warwick University. Dr. Maz certainly looked the role of an outlaw biker with shoulder-length hair, tattoos, a small beard, and wraparound sunglasses. His curriculum vitae as a biker was impossible to challenge. Born in 1949 in Bexley Heath, Kent, Dr. Maz dropped out of school at age 15. Not long after that, he founded the London biker club, the Anarchists, and then gained membership in the Angels. Dr. Maz was killed on May 31, 2000, when test driving an extremely high-powered Buell motorcycle, a subsidiary of Harley-Davidson, specialising in racing bikes. As there was only seating for 300 in the picturesque Church of St. Paulinus in Crayford, Kent, his funeral service was piped outside to mourners. It included a playing of the Doors, Riders of the Storm, and Richard Burton's reading of Dylan Thomas's play Under Milkwood, which includes the lines, "We are not wholly bad or good who live our lives under Milkwood." And thus concludes today's offerings. I'll be back tomorrow with chapter 27. How long is chapter 27? Not too long. How long is chapter 28 then? Sometimes it's a bit like that. By the gods. It's almost like Morse code. Long, short, 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 long, short, short. I wonder if I put a dot and a dash for every chapter that's short and long, if it has a secret code. How's that for a conspiracy theory? You can tell I've been watching too many weird and wonderful offerings on YouTube, but well, for shits and giggles, I should actually try and work out if there was a code. But I won't. I've got too many things to do with my time. Fighting spiritual wars with actual demons in human form, and living my best life, and healing my lungs that are coughing up a bit of unpleasantness, so they're still not completely right, people of Earth. So it was a good decision to not take myself out dancing last weekend, because it's Tuesday and I'm still not quite right. But well, it can take me sometimes 6 weeks or 3 months to recover from a bad bronchitis, and We're 3.5 weeks in. By the gods. So I guess I'm doing well to have, you know, come back so marvellously. Right, anyway, that's enough for today. As always, take good care, be of good cheer, and remember to never ever let the bastards grind us down. And shalom, peace out, beautiful people of Earth.